Good evening, folks, and welcome to another late night edition of Crime. It's not late. What am I saying? Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. Hey, if you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right spot. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get all things DutyRon and this guy, Ed Wallace, when we go live or upload another video. Hey, tonight we're going to go over the recap of the week one of the Leilani Simon trial. She stands accused of murdering her son, little baby Quinton, as they would refer to him, and we all have been referring to him as Baby Q, back on October 5th of 2022. This woman, we're getting to see testimony and people coming in and talking about how unfit she was as a mother. She is a vile human being, and as far as I'm concerned, she should be put under the jail when convicted. In the state of Georgia, they're going after her for 19 counts of three of those counts are murder, but 19 counts, the indictment. We read it out to you guys when it was out there. But we're going to do the recap, but we're going to go over just the forensics part because Ed is our forensics expert, sort of like a Forensic Friday. What do you think, Ed? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
Not too bad. Thanks for asking. I want to just say a special thank you to the replay viewers, the moderators, the folks who sent us super chats, Patreon supporters, and everyone who positively engages in this community. You guys are what makes this a great place. We give thanks and praise to each and every one of you. And thank you all for joining tonight. By a show of hands in the chat, how many of you have been following this case? It's been quite a long week. The trial, in some parts of it has been, some people would argue and say boring, because there's a lot of video that the prosecutor is showing. The defense is really not talking, but the defense, when they talk, kind of irks me. It does what any good defense attorney does, make you go, but that's what their job is. That's what they're supposed to do. The state of Georgia has the burden of proof. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Leilani did in fact murder Quinton Simon, her son. And guess what? They had his remains recovered from that landfill, but there's no eyewitnesses. There's no cameras, video cameras showing the murder. So they have to prove it by circumstantial evidence. And it seems like, Ed, they have a mountain of it.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of it is great detective work. A lot of shoe leather got burnt on this case. They tracked down video. They tracked down digital forensics from cell phones, the ADT security system at the house, when doors open, when doors close. It's all coming together nicely. They got her vehicle on video camera of gas stations and other locations along the route she took to go to the trailer park, even the dumpster, going into the trailer park, coming out of the trailer park, and everything is coinciding. Now, we didn't even get to the infotainment system or the cell phone data itself, or what it showed in our movements and so forth.
Right. And we know from today, or I believe it was yesterday or today, I've had a hell of a week, guys. So it's been tough for me to follow everything. But I know either today or yesterday, they talked about the infotainment system. I believe it was today. And they said they weren't successful in the Dodge journey because the infotainment system, as our good friend from the auto crime, Tommy Burke, said, if you don't have the Bluetooth capable radios for that infotainment system, you're not going to get that data. But they did have an infotainment warrant that they issued, but they got no data from it. And that was disheartening to hear. But let's listen to Court TV just for a little bit, give you guys a little bit of a preview of what we're going to talk about tonight.
Our investigation is the death of little Quinton Simon in Savannah, Georgia. The disappearance of this toddler from his home in 2022 sparked national attention. It seemed like he vanished into thin air. His mother, Leilani Simon, pleaded publicly for his return, telling police that the toddler was abducted. But over time, this investigation changed to see this grieving mother as a prime suspect. Here's the story. 20-month-old Quinton Simon was living with his mother, Leilani, her boyfriend, Danny, and his grandparents, Billy Joe and Thomas. On October 5th, 2022, at 9:40 a.m., there was a call to 911 to report this little boy missing. The investigation began as a missing persons case. Was this child abducted? Did he sneak away into the nearby woods? Soon, though, the nature of this investigation would change. It became a homicide investigation with the attention focused on Quinton's mom. Then the true crime community spotlight started to shine on Leilani Simon and her family. Protesters outside of their home demanded answers and made accusations. The police investigation led to an expansive search of a landfill, and eventually remains of little Quinton were found. Leilani was charged and locked up, arrested for his murder, and now a jury and the public are finally hearing the evidence against Leilani Simon. And tonight, we're looking for answers to what happened to little Quinton. So this case is one that's now in front of a jury. And during the prosecution's opening statement, he outlined the state's theory of this case against Leilani Simon, that there was a drug-fueled rage that happened within her. And after an argument she had with her boyfriend, Danny, that Leilani killed her child and then drove to a nearby dumpster minutes later and discarded the little boy like trash.
She's up all alone, physically uncomfortable, emotionally unhappy, unstable to some degree. And around 1 a.m. probably, she kills Quinton. She takes his body and puts it in Dodge Journey, Georgia tag. And she begins the cover-up. The cover-up is not just the lies to the police. The cover-up starts immediately. A little after 1 a.m., she drives down Buckhalter Road, which turns to the right here, but it's still Buckhalter Road at that turn. And comes into Ogeechee Road right here. And she pulls into this mobile home plaza. It's right here. Mostly what you're seeing is trees, but there are mobile homes in here. This is Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And there's a convenient stand-at dumpster sort of hidden away under the tree cover in the tree line there. And she throws Quinton's body away like a piece of trash about 1:17 in the morning.
Is that infuriating, the way she's shaking her head there? I know there's a lot of people in the chat that really have some strong feelings about Leilani, but she's sitting there in court at some points in day one, taking tissues and wiping tears away from her eyes. That I really didn't see those tears, but she kept trying to wipe at her eyes when they were playing her 911 call and her getting into her outrageous fits and trying to throw off the investigators. But what I like about this is that, Ed, the investigators quickly were on to her bullshit, and they knew that she was not telling the truth. And that got this investigation ramped up really quickly. Any thoughts on that one, Ed?
Well, I mean, when you see the interviews and you see the crocodile tears coming out and you hear her line of BS, you realize, she's not going to take responsibility for anything.
Yeah. And she points the fingers at everybody and anybody in this case. And, when we look back on it, early on, they had tons of resources. We heard in court, the drone teams were out, horseback. There was personnel on horseback. Aviation was up. I mean, they spent so many hours and so much resources on searching for him in the first 24 hours. But they quickly found out that she was full of it, and interviews and interrogations happened quickly. We heard from Detective Lemons and an FBI agent Snyder that they put her in the box and he interviewed her, and it went from there. Go ahead, Ed.
And I also think that, during that early stages when they were treating it as a search and not as a crime scene, they made a couple of mistakes and they let some evidence fall through the cracks.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. And that happened on day 2, Ed. We heard from some of the local crime scene investigators and A lot of people were talking about this where they didn't voucher certain things. I'm going to play just a small clip from day 2. This is what we're going to highlight today in our weekly recap here. But there was so much that went on this week. There were so many civilian witnesses, the babysitter, her ex-boyfriend, who was quite believable, Daniel Youngkins. He was quite believable, and he showed remorse. He was visibly shaken on the stand, and was asked why he was visibly shaken, and he was getting upset. He said he wished that he would have checked on baby Quinton, but he in fact didn't that morning. So
yeah, this is another prime example of a young woman having a child before she was ready to be a mother.
Yeah, and drugs and alcohol were her primary concern, and her ex-boyfriend, we heard her in the arguments and in the conversation talking with Danny and all kinds of hysteria. This was never a fit mother, and we heard the babysitter talk about it on the stand today. And when she was questioned by the cross-examined by the defense tried to discredit her by saying to her, well, then why didn't you report this? And she kept saying that the child welfare services reached out to her, that she didn't have to reach out to them. But of course, a defense job is to discredit witnesses. And that's all they did. And in this first week, I saw them do it, but they did back off on trying to discredit the FBI. I noticed that. The questioning, the cross-examination was very brief. But let's listen to the local Chatham County crime scene, because Ed, for the folks who are new, we have quite a few new people. Just let them know some of your background for folks that might be listening for the very first time.
Well, for you folks that are listening for the first time, I'm a retired first grade detective from the NYPD. I spent 15 years, that's 3/4 of a career there, in the crime scene unit, and was promoted there 3 times to first grade detective. I have certifications in different forensic disciplines, including senior crime scene analyst, bloodstain pattern analysis, fire debris investigation, post-blast investigation, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive CBRNE, as we call it, hazardous materials certification, and law enforcement instructor in the state of New York, and numerous other certifications. I've investigated some 2,700 crime scenes in those 15 years. While after I retired, opened up my own business. I wrote 4 textbooks on forensics. I travel around the country for the Department of Homeland Security and Louisiana State University, training emergency responders to prepare for terrorist crime scene investigations. And I travel internationally for the State Department and the Defense Department doing similar activity.
Is it fair to say that you're a qualified crime scene expert, CSI expert, Ed?
Well, judges in close to 375 trials have ruled me as a forensic expert.
Eileen says Dr. Smarty Pants, and she's got that 100% right. Thank you, Eileen. Yeah, Ed, your resume and your experience is impressive. And that's why we love having you here, and we love for you to cover these types of trials and cases. Here is the detective on stand from Chatham County. This was day 2, folks.
And then later on that night, I took overall photos of the outside of the residence and the inside of the residence.
So there was initially a period shortly after your arrival where you took a few pictures of the pack and play.
Yes, sir.
And then you backed down.
Yes, sir.
And took many more photographs later.
Yes, sir.
And was that after a search warrant had been obtained for the residence?
Yes.
Okay. How many pictures did you take total, if you remember?
A lot.
Would it refresh your memory?
Yeah, let me look at this real quick. On that day, I took 475 photos.
In the course of taking those photographs and walking around the residence, did you have an opportunity to examine the front door?
Yes.
Did there appear to be any signs of forced entry or anything like that?
There did not.
Did you see anywhere in the house any obvious signs of a struggle?
I did not.
Okay. Do you see in front of you an exhibit marked as State's Exhibit 10?
I'm sorry, what did you?
State's Exhibit 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you lead through that and tell us what that is? You don't have to necessarily look at every picture.
This is the photo from the first day.
Is that all of them or just the selection?
Just a selection.
What is, going off the number here, what is the total number of images? You looked at the last page.
114.
All right, now, do those images fairly and accurately depict the residents and the surrounding area as you photographed it that day?
Yes, sir.
Do they appear to have been altered or modified in any way?
They do not appear to be.
Your Honor, I would move State's Exhibit 10 into evidence at this time.
Having reviewed it, Judge, no objection.
State Exhibit number 10 is denoted.
And I would ask to publish this exhibit to the jury.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Now, this is photograph number 1 of State's Exhibit 10. Can you tell us what this is?
This is a photo log. It gives our case number, the location signal, which is the crime or what we're responding to, who went to it, the date of it, and then the time approximately we arrived. We put
Side of the pool from where we are right.
A lot of people never got to see this part, Ed, because this is the back side of the house, and they had a big fence on their driveway where you couldn't get up and into the back. And this is like kind of the first time seeing this backyard setup. Pool looked like it wasn't maintained properly. There was a green water in there, algae and everything or whatever. But it gives you an idea. This pool was drained or looked at, I believe, when they were initially looking for Quinton. And this crime scene unit investigator seemed like he took quite a bit of photos. Didn't hear anything about sketches. I wanted to go to you on your opinion on what was done here by Chatham County initially. Again, it was a missing child.
Well, again, how many times have we seen this where the initial responding officers keep treating just as a missing persons and not thinking to treat it to the higher standard as a possible homicide investigation, and in doing so, make some mistakes and let evidence slip through the cracks. Now, it appears to me, though, later on you will see that they did some scanning, some 3D laser scanning, because the floor plan they're using appears to have come from a scanner.
Okay.
That will be coming up. But as you saw, as you just showed right there, I mean, there was something that he thought was possible blood and vomit in the pack and play, but he never tested it and never took it.
Never vouched it, never took it, never tested it. This is the diagram that you are referring to as the 3D possible 3D scan.
Yeah, it looks like it's from a 3D scan. I mean, this house, its floor plan is so chaotic. It looks like this house had went through several rounds of expansion, and I mean, the floor plan makes no sense to me whatsoever. You'd have bathrooms like that are like, I can't make any rhyme or reason how you traverse this house and where things are. But that's the front door, right? And there are two other doors, one in the dining room that goes out to the pool area, one in the living room that goes out to the gated area where I guess they pen the children in, outside of the, that's the front entrance, outside away from the pool.
Yeah, and this is the driveway that leads up to the backyard, but there's a gate here that closes. Yeah. We knew
and
that.
then to the left is a carport with an RV, I believe, and some truck.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
and this is the gated off area that you just referred to, Ed. Maybe where they kept the kids and so forth.
Kids, yeah.
But it definitely looked cluttered, chaos.
Yeah, I mean, in the interior of the house too. I mean, the way these people were living, it suggested that the house was very unkept and was in need of a good straightening out.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now, if this was amylase, if this was vomit, because I think he's saying vomit, but it could have been vomit, especially if there was some kind of blunt force trauma impact to the child. You might expect a baby to bleed, but if there was some bleeding coming from the mouth area, because this looks like it may be amylase, but we'll never know because he never took it, never had it tested.
Right, absolutely. Look who's here, our great friend Billy Ryan from Ryan Investigator.
Billy,
retired first grader, right?
Yes,
from the arson and
explosion, A&E.
Yes, A&E. Thank you, Billy, for being here. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you all is well and you're doing good. But Ed, so a regular. Hey, by the way, is anybody catching on to our Halloween vibes in the DutyRon banner up above, right above here on the top? That was courtesy of Josh, our producer. May he rest in peace. November 11th, it's going to come up on a year. But for those of you who are watching the trial, right away, like, of course, because I'm hanging around with you, I'm getting more educated, Ed. But right away, when I saw this, I thought blood. In your professional opinion, like, obviously, I know the answer to this, but I have to lead you into this. What would you have done with this, Ed, if you came across that?
Well, looking at it right there, I would describe it as a reddish brown stain, possible blood. I would have tested it with a field presumptive test for blood. I wouldn't use luminol or blue star, no, because I can visibly see this. All right, I would break out like a Kastle-Meyer or a phenolphthalein test or one of the other tests and test
What's
it.
Kastle-Meyer?
It's a field presumptive test for blood, but we use OBTI. OBTI is more specific to humans. And so if it would have came back positive, I would have suspected a human, possible human source for this reddish brown stain. I would have picked the whole thing up and I would have wrapped it up, put it in a paper bag and shipped it off to the laboratory for confirmation. And if it was in fact blood, then DNA. And also I want to see, you see these stringy sections over here, right there, like these stringy sections. That's what we call, that is similar in appearance to amylase and saliva. And I would be looking at, now he called it vomit, but it doesn't appear to be vomit to me. It appears to be amylase as if it came out. It's like a mucal material. And I would have that tested and they would tell me definitively if that was mucus or amylase. And then that would say, okay, this came from the victim's nose, the victim's mouth. Okay. Whatever the source of that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, and those of you in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, because we don't have it all right all the time. But I recall the detective when the cross-examination started. And Dr. Berry, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your coverage. Ed, we have to get her on. Dr. Berry, psychologist responds. She's got a great channel. I'd love to have her on some of these cases that we cover and do a collaboration with her. When he was asked about this on cross, he said that this is showing like it's blood, but it's really, I believe he said it's like orangey. So he was saying in court, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I don't know if you caught that, Ed, but I definitely did. He was saying that it's the appearance on the screen, it appears to be blood, but if you were there and seeing it, it was more of an orangey, representing maybe perhaps vomit, like you were saying there, Ed. But either way, this has to be a loss for the state. That I would
have taken it.
That's a big loss there, right?
Right. You err on the side of caution here. You take it.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to hear what they're talking about as he describes this.
It's appearing redder on the screen than
shit! I can't believe that I had it on. I mean, I didn't plan that. Let's hear him talk about that. And of course, I just missed the spot, and I just lost.
You were right there.
Yeah.
Do you see that substance there?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a good look at it while you were out there?
I did, sir.
And What, if anything, did it appear to you to be?
I believed it to be vomit.
Okay. Did it appear to be blood?
It didn't.
Okay.
It's a lot redder in that picture than it actually was.
You're saying it's appearing redder on the screen than
Yes, sir.
than it actually was when you were out there?
Yes, sir.
Did not appear to be blood.
No.
Right, there's a there's a larger look at it, and you could see some staining here towards the bottom, over here, up here. I mean, Ed, you would I know this from being around you. You would have took that whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would have taken all that bedding that's in there. All right, and I would have brought it in, the pillow, everything. Okay, I would have individually packaged it, wrapped it in paper, and sealed it up, and got it to the laboratory, and let them figure out what this is. Okay, and then I mean, did anybody, if again, and if I was there and the mother was present, or any of the caregivers were present, then I would say, hey, can anybody explain this?
Look at this pack and play. This is the item that we were looking at there.
Yeah, the pillow.
There's tons of stuff. There's tons of other stains.
Oh man, if I would have hit that with an alternate light source, I'm sure it would have glowed.
It would have lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Our good friends Hatfield and McCoy are in the building. Thank you. That's Sheila and Fred. Oh my Lanta. Thank you. I received 2 books from them that I believe were written by I'm assuming Fred. But 2 books about Hatfield and McCoy Museum, and I thank you for that. I got them at the P.O. box just the other day. So thank you for the $50 super chat, and also we have to have them on as a guest. We want to talk to them about what they did with the highway shooter in Kentucky. So yeah, we got to get them on. We're going to work that out.
One of my instructors with the Homeland Security course that you visited and she was there at that time you visited in New York, is Heather Hatfield.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about with them, and I can't wait to have them on as a guest to talk about when they found the remains of the shooter. Interesting story. But anyways, let's get back to this. This whole pack and play, in my opinion, should have been packaged up and taken in. The bedding, if this is some type of cushioning, and I believe it is, everything in there should have been wrapped up, because we heard the detective Lemons, and we're going to see her in this later on. She comes into the home and goes right to the right as soon as she walks through the door and says, I immediately smelled vomit. And like you said, that could be indicative of after this poor young baby was assaulted. He could have been, he could have vomited. He could have been vomiting blood as well. No?
Yeah. Anytime you have head trauma, right? Anytime you have head trauma where you have a concussion or you have a fractured skull or anything like that, there's a possibility of vomiting and seizure.
Right. Let's listen.
A little bit. Do you see that substance there?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a good look at it while you were out there?
I did, sir.
And what, if anything, did it appear to you to be?
I believed it to be vomit.
Okay. Did it appear to be blood?
It didn't.
Okay.
It's a lot redder in that picture than it actually was.
You're saying it's appearing redder on the screen than
Yes, sir.
than it actually was when you were out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did not appear to be blood.
No.
Yeah, but what would it have taken for you to take out a small little test and test the sample, and then you could have definitively put that to bed instead of having this open question that the defense can exploit?
Let me play devil's advocate here, and I'm thinking maybe, this is obviously speculation, but maybe this was so in the infancy stages of this investigation that if he felt that it truly was a missing child case, that there was no need to take it. But like
right. Well, that's what he said. He
Yeah.
said that, but again, we got to break that mentality. We have to stop saying, oh, it's just a missing persons case.
Think the worst.
Right. Think the worst. And if you investigate to the higher standard and it turns out not to be, no harm, no foul. But if you do it this way, and that was important evidence, we lost it.
And the first thing the defense asked them is why? Why didn't you voucher that? Let me just speed it up a little bit.
56.
Just painting
the
through.
interior of the home.
panning through the dining room, you can start to see the kitchen entrance door or entrance on your right-hand side.
57?
57, the dining room doors are right behind me, looking into the kitchen through the dining room.
58?
Continue panning right. That's a little storage closet, and you have a deep freezer.
Still in the dining room here.
Still in the dining room.
And 59, where have we moved and what are we looking at?
So I have moved around. The kitchen entrance is to my left. I'm in that corner, and I'm looking towards the bathroom door. And you can see the dining room door on the very right of the picture.
All right, so that dark wood door in the middle that we're looking at is the door that you came through to get into the dining room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the white door on the right is the door to the outside that
Yes.
they call the dining room door. 60?
Now I'm on the other side of the dining room or the kitchen door. The closet is going to be on my left. And then you can see the edge of the bathroom door that I came through. And now you can see the dining room door leading outside.
61, you just pan to the right a little more.
Yes, sir.
62, same.
Same.
63, same.
Same.
And 64, where are we at?
64, we are in the doorway and looking into the kitchen from the dining room.
And can we see the sinks in this picture?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned there's something that you called a pass-through window over the sinks. Is that at least partially visible in this picture?
Yes, sir. If you,
Just pan to the right a little more.
yes, sir.
62, same.
Same.
How important are all these photographs? Because I saw people in the chat on day 2. I don't know if it was Law and Crime or Court TV, Ed. How important are the interior pictures of these homes?
Well, it
Why do they
goes.
do
Yeah, you have to take these overall photographs to show the state of the living conditions, okay, that are present at the time that you're being called there. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the scene hasn't been altered from the time of the incident to the time you respond there. It most likely was altered, and we know it was altered because the baby's gone, and other things from that pack and play I would surmise are gone as well, with the baby, never to be recovered again. So, but it's important to show, how things were occurring in this house and how people were living and the state of the living conditions.
Yeah, and they're showing it here.
I don't know if y'all can see that in that picture.
Lots of clutter.
All right. What is that? And how did the vehicle get from 535 Buckhalter to the FBI City Hall?
It was towed.
All right, so I want to talk about the vehicle, Ed, because this has to do with forensics. And yeah, they're looking at garbage pails. They're looking at tons of stuff inside and outside of the garage. But the vehicle, Leilani's Dodge Journey 2015. We're going to see it here in these. Yeah, I believe this is it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that in the case? Because it's alleged that she took poor baby Quinton in that vehicle and dumped him like garbage into that garbage dumpster a distance away from a home outside of that mobile home park.
Right, in a trailer park, right?
Yeah,
it's very important because they have CCTV footage of that vehicle along the route to and from the trailer park. They also have it going into the trailer park. They have it approaching the dumpster. They have a time frame that it's at the dumpsters. They have it pulling away from the dumpsters, and so forth. And then, the investigation showed, hey, that dumpster was picked up at this time, on this date, and it was deposited in this landfill at this location in the landfill. And they slammed on the brakes of putting any more garbage at that location. The FBI goes there, law enforcement goes there, and sure enough, they found the remains in that area where that particular dumpster was deposited.
How important is the vehicle processed? Processing it. People ask, what do you process it with? Blue Star.
Well, you're going to give it a full look. First, you try to do all the non-destructive stuff first. You photograph the exterior, interior of the vehicle. You document in written notes how you found the interior and the exterior, the condition of the vehicle. Next, then you get into non-destructive searches with alternate light sources. You're looking for all kinds of different body fluid stains that might be deposited in there. Now, you see in the back, there was a photograph of white powder all over the back of the cargo area. And the crime scene detective surmised that it was some kind of cereal. Okay. All right. He did some kind of, mixed it with water to see. I don't know what that was all about, but, again, when in doubt, take a sample, send it to the lab, have it tested, see what it is. In fact, what it is. Okay. Stop thinking, oh, it's just a missing persons case. Okay. Treat it to the higher standard, bring it to the lab, let them tell you exactly what it is, and let them explain how it got there.
And
okay, what's the story for this?
And Ed, you're 100% right, but you could see that same type of white powder along the sill of the door here, and on the in the driver's side here. I think ahead of the game here, where you look at the actual location where it's alleged that she took the baby and put him in the dumpster, I would look for soil and debris and matter to be brought, right? Am I off on that?
Lacard's exchange principle, exactly. You would go grab some soil from the dumpster, all right, area, whatever on the ground there. Is it sandy? What are we dealing with here? And then you take samples of that and see if you can find that same material. So then now also on the undercarriage of the vehicle, the tires, the air filters, you try to gather up all of that evidence, and you see if we can link her to more definitively to that site. Here's all that powder, and there's your fireball. Okay.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. The car is crucial. The evidence within that vehicle is crucial, and processing it is super crucial. So, again, is this going to ruin the case on them? No, I don't think so. But this helps to, as we speak, dot your I's, cross your T's. Better to have it and not need it. And
better to have it and not need it, than not have it and need it.
There you go.
All right.
A lot of people in the chat are asking, does Georgia have the death penalty? They're not seeking the death penalty in this case, and I don't believe Georgia has the death penalty. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert there. But they're charging her with 3 counts of murder. She's looking at life without the possibility of parole upon conviction. There's 19 charges all in total. What do you got up on the screen from Carrie, our good friend from Florida?
Yeah, she was talking about how that the defendant mouthed right, and it was caught by the camera in the courtroom. That's a fucking lie. When a witness was on the stand and people heard it, you could see what she said on the television screen. And there was a hearing about it today where the judge warned her not to do that.
Not a good look. She did that in front of the jury. I'm sure the jury is instructed on it, but she's not giving I say this all the time, but she is her own worst enemy, because the demeanor, how she's carrying herself in court, and the way she was looking at, I believe it was a former boyfriend or a friend, the guy who was talking about, I get hungry while I'm being interrogated for 14 hours, so I ordered Uber. I ordered Uber Eats because they promised me a pizza and they didn't give me a pizza. She was laughing about that. Lady, you stand accused of murdering your child, your own flesh and blood. You shouldn't be laughing in the courtroom. You shouldn't be smiling. There should be nothing funny about this. And I don't care what the witness is doing and how theatrical that guy was being. It actually made me happy that she was doing it, because she's hurting herself. The jury's looking at it.
That's another thing too. there was Angela, Angelia. Yes, it could be rice cereal, but didn't take a sample, so we'll never really know. Again, we can't leave unopened questions like this, especially when all the defense has to do is create reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. So how difficult is this to grab a sample of this stuff and ship it to the lab and say, tell me what this is?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Another thing that really bothered me too is when the forensic anthropologist from the FBI was testifying, and you have all of these bones of this woman's child up on the screen. No freaking emotion.
None.
None.
Zero. I focused.
Stone cold.
I focused in on that heavy duty. Yes, thank you, Gladys. And I know a lot of people corrected me. I said in the beginning of this, I didn't get to watch. This trial was 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I work full time. I got a lot going on. So I didn't pay close attention to all of the testimony. I did see it, and I did, see the people. But yes, thank you, Gladys, the Pizzo. Thank you for correcting me. That was her brother. He was acting like a fool at one point, just for a short period of it. He was being theatrical. I get hungry. And she was laughing like it was a big joke.
She shed not one tear when these broken bones of her shattered baby was on the screen. Not one tear. She didn't turn her head away.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it. This is not normal behavior.
Piece of work. For those of you in the chat, you feel that Leilani they have enough to get a guilty verdict thus far. It's only 1 week into this thing. I don't know how long this trial is going to last. I didn't see the predictions, whether it's going to be a week, 2 weeks. I mean, obviously we're going to continue on Monday. So just by a show of hands, thus far in week 1, has the state proven their case beyond the reasonable doubt that Leilani is guilty of murder of Quinton Simon? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel they have. Put a 2 if you feel that they are not quite there yet. Let's see where everybody is with who's watching and paying attention. Let's let this continue. We're going based here on the forensics.
Alcohol bottle.
Let's just hear.
A little wooden skewer.
Look, this video is 8 hours and 18
What's
minutes.
this alcohol bottle here?
Fireball.
And then this other one here is something called
Curveball.
curveball. You know what that is?
Malt liquor.
Not 100% sure.
I
I
don't
think it
know.
was whiskey,
Whiskey.
something like that.
13.
That's still the driver's side steering wheel, and you can see the gear shifter.
There's a treasure trove of evidence in this car. It has to be. And I'm curious to know if they fully processed this thing. Our good friend Down the Rabbit Hole is here. Shout out to you. Thank you, Rabbit Hole News. And thank you for all your coverage on all of these different types of cases. She does coverage on Diddy and a whole slew of true crime cases. So shout out to you. That's her famous. That's what she does. Shout out to everybody. But shout out to you, Down the Rabbit Hole. We appreciate you. Big supporters of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, and we are a big supporter of you guys, you as well. Ed, treasure trove of info inside this car?
Yeah, you would think so. Again, the Lacard's exchange principle, right? You would think you would have some exchange, but see, here's the thing: the kid has been in and out of this car, and so fingerprints, DNA, hairs and fibers,
And there's there's 2 other kids too.
There's limited probative information with those things because of that legitimate access.
Right.
But now, I mean, if we had blood and we had vomit and we had amylase and we had all this other stuff in here, well, then that has to be explained.
100%, 100.
With the hatch open.
Now, this whitish substance, is that something that you all put in there?
No, we did not put that in.
Was it already in there when you opened the car?
Yes, sir.
And had you in fact seen it at the scene the day before on the 5th?
The trunk?
I mean, had you seen through the window that there's stuff in there?
Yes.
So this was in there during the police response.
Yes, sir.
It's already there. It's not something that got in there between the 911 call or at least between police arrival and your photograph in the car.
They had.
what it was?
Not 100% sure. We did do a little. We took a sample of it, and we did do a little self test there. Kind of appeared to be a like kid cereal.
What do you
baby
mean?
cereal.
You said you did
Like
blood
a-
test?
We took a sample of it, put it in some hot water, and stirred it up. Kind of had a grainy odie smell.
Ed,
I don't know why they would do that. First of all, they don't know what this is. Well, white powder can be explosives. Well, white powder can be biological material. White powder can be narcotics. A white powder can be just about anything. And, you know, it could be water reactive. And now you just mix it with water and go boom in your face.
more
Okay.
importantly, could they have stored the body of Quinton Simon in the back trunk there and then placed whatever that is down to try to get any type of leakage or anything to cover it up?
What if that's powdered carpet cleaner? What if there was liquids that oozed out of the baby in the cargo area, and now they're just trying to use this stuff to absorb it? Okay.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pull a sample and run it to the lab. Screen it. You screen it for radiation. You screen it for explosivity and flammability. You screen it for pH, and you screen it for volatility. Once you have those 4 screenings, and if it's not dangerous, you package it up and you ship it to the lab. Also, you do a protein test on it to see if it's possible biological.
Yeah.
And then you ship it to the lab and say, "What is this?"
I'm calling the police on the police. Oh my God. This freaks me out when I see stuff like this. And it's just scary that this goes on across.
And how long is this in here? You know, when was it first seen? When did this come? Did anybody answer out to what this powder was during their interviews?
Yeah, or weedy smell.
And did it dissolve in
Said
water?
it was like a weedy type smell.
It did.
Did it appear to you to likely be some kind of children's cereal?
It did.
Is it me, or his questions seem a bit leading?
They're definitely leading, but the defense crosses him, and he really didn't. He didn't eat him up. He just asked him why he didn't voucher the blankets and so forth. But it's quick, so let's listen. I'd like to know who trains these police departments. I know it's not you, because if you trained them, they would be doing it the right way. But it just freaks me out that we can have a child who was murdered and thrown in a landfill, thrown out as garbage in a garbage container and taken to a landfill, and a month's search or more had to be conducted with multiple agencies, the FBI specialists. They had the Adam team down there from the FBI searching the landfill, and this is the investigation that's part of the beginning of it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we can say baby infant cereal or rice cereal all we want. We really don't know, do we? I mean, they could say that's what it is, right? But shouldn't we validate what they're telling us with having it tested in the lab to confirm, in fact, what it is?
You're just giving the defense a ground ball to create reasonable doubt, and that you don't want that. You don't want that.
17.
This is the passenger side rear door. And looking into the vehicle from the passenger side.
What's that there in the floorboard?
That is a natural light beer can.
Straw there.
19.
Front passenger door.
Timestamp discrepancy. Now, slide 2. What is this here? What are we looking at?
These are the community dumpsters in the Azalea Mobile Home Park.
All right. And what is that we see on the far right side of the frame?
There's a white Jeep
All right.
belonging to one of the staff members of Azalea.
Okay. And that is sitting right next to the standard dumpsters, right?
Yes.
Moving to slide 3, where are we? First of all, where are we?
So we are, this building on my right is the Azalea main office, right as you enter the park.
And I believe this is the only camera that had a view straight through here to where the dumpsters were, and you could see her car. But none of it is anything concrete where you can actually see her or make out the license plate or make out anything. What do you got from Gladys?
Gladys is asking if they still have the car, is it possible to find that material that was in the back, even though it's so long, and have it tested? And the answer is yes. You can do a 3M trace vacuum of that cargo area and go and try to pull up what might still be left in the fibers, deep in the fibers, and have it tested. Yeah, so this is where the dumpsters were on the security camera of the trailer park, and this is where her car pulls up and then drives away after spending some time there.
But let's remember, it was in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. This is daytime, so
Right.
they're giving a representation of the cameras. You and I know they work great during the day, but when it comes to nighttime, it's not as good. Ryan investigates. Billy Ryan, retired NYPD detective. I worked many cases for the defense. I'm frequently surprised at the amount of sloppy crime scene work that is done on major crimes. It's very disheartening.
It is, and you know how I am, Billy. This shit drives me nuts.
For anybody who does this stuff the right way, it drives you absolutely bonkers.
It's just unforced errors, unforced.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you're looking for DNA, yeah, MVAC, but the MVAC can be used for other things as well. Yeah, you could use an MVAC.
I've zoomed in here. Is that the white car that we just saw in the last picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
But look, you can't see the plate when you zoomed in. You can see nothing here. This is just blurred. I know the FBI and there's programs that you could use to make it, but this is not, for me, at nighttime, you got a whole different ball game here.
off to the
Yeah,
left,
but while you're not going to get the detail at nighttime that you can get during the daytime, but what it does is connect all these videos of that particular vehicle traversing this route.
Yeah, and this is all great for the state putting together what what anybody that is a reasonable person would come to a conclusion that yes, she drove the car there. The cell data shows that she drove the car there. She lied about what she did about getting the Oragel. She never stopped at the Chevron gas station. Leilani is a pathological liar. She lied throughout this whole thing. And then finally, when she was cornered, she said, if I did do something wrong, I want to be held accountable for it. Well, woman, you're in jail right now, pending life in prison for the rest of your life without the possibility of parole upon conviction of the top charges. So yeah, you're going to be held accountable for it. And I'm hoping and praying that the state proves beyond a reasonable doubt that she did in fact murder her son, because we all know that the mountain of circumstantial evidence points all to her. The defense, in my opinion, is going to try to pin it on her boyfriend that was there at the time. That's what they're going to go at. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. You guys let me know what you think in the chat. But the defense is going to say the boyfriend did it, and then she just had to dispose of the child with.
But if they were going to say that, wouldn't they have had to told the judge beforehand that they were going to go with that route?
They're going to allude to it, and they're going to make the jury feel like, there is a chance that she didn't do this alone. So that it's just me thinking out loud.
this one of the dumpsters.
Yep.
Okay. And in this picture, zooming back out, did you take this picture?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you standing right underneath a camera?
Ooh,
Yeah.
so that's
Right,
not
and
even a
that
picture from the camera.
Is it affixed to
So that was a picture from his cell phone, Ed.
the side of the
No,
management?
from his crime scene camera.
I believe it's on a little patio covering.
Say again?
I believe it's on a patio covering.
Okay. And again, were you standing more or less right under it?
Yeah, my camera was right under it.
And was the goal of this photo, I figure out what direction is this camera looking and what is the field of view going to show in terms of the car sitting at the dumpsters?
Yeah.
Okay. So we see, at least as you're standing there, you can see this car sitting at the dumpsters, but it is a ways off.
Yes, sir.
And what is this in the foreground here, this area that's bounded by this fence?
It's like a little maintenance area where they store, I guess, their machinery. It's in the property, the office property.
I will say this: she did admit that she threw the garbage out. So that's going to be a tough one for the defense to battle. I'm very curious to hear. We haven't heard what the defense is going to say. I'm just speculating. I could be way wrong, but that's those are my thoughts. But yeah, it's an interesting fact that she did say that she threw that garbage in that dumpster. She threw garbage in that dumpster, but
Yeah, and we heard also about the dumping of the phones, right? But we haven't heard all the details of what they learned from the phones.
right.
Okay. In addition, this reminds me so much of Casey Anthony. Okay, and we all know what results happened in the Casey Anthony trial, right?
Mm.
So I'm a little worried here, though. I'm a little worried.
You and me both, brother.
Let me ask you this.
This is the defense cross-examining him. I'm going to try to back it up just a little bit more.
Officer Schenker, I'm going to start where you left off because it just makes more sense to
So this is Leilani's defense team.
work back that way because that's where you were at. With regard to these, like State's Exhibit number 55 that we just discussed the 80-minute time discrepancy. Okay. Did you ever do any?
Mr. Schenker's,
Give me 1 second. I think it's me.
okay.
Is that better? Thank you. Sorry about that, Mr. Harper. Okay, so let's just start with the Azalea cams first. Okay, so on October 7th and October 9th, you noticed some sort of time discrepancy, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you documented it, and that's what we just dealt with, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever inquiry or find out when the discrepancy began?
No, sir.
You were just sent out there to collect the footage then?
Yes, sir.
So you made no further inquiry other than just to note it?
I personally did not. I don't know if my sergeant or the other officer did.
And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, just asking you what you did, okay? So you noted the discrepancy, but you didn't get to the bottom of it or find out when it started, correct? All right. So let's back up a little bit and go to State's Exhibit 11, which was the one you did prior to that one. So on October 6th, you got the Dodge Journey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you photographed the Dodge Journey,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Did you do anything else other than that or just take photographs?
Photographed it. We did alternate light on the vehicle to see if there was any like fabric or anything from the scene. We did do a couple swabs of the substance in the back, and we did blue star the vehicle.
Ed?
Yes.
So he's saying that he blue starred the vehicle, alternate light sources.
Yes. And he got one little spot that he called it fluoresce, and it's not fluoresce. Blue star doesn't cause fluorescence. It causes chemical luminescence, which is a total different animal. And he got one spot to give him a reaction.
Well, and that's why I'm asking is just based upon the testimony I heard, it seemed like it was just a bunch of pictures you were taking, but there was a lot more to it than that, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many people were out there that day on October 6th, I guess, examining the vehicle?
Myself and Corporal Shriver.
Okay, so two of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you went through the vehicle and you noted the alcohol containers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you seize those?
Did I see those?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they were taken into evidence, correct?
No.
They weren't taken into evidence?
No.
Just photographed them.
Just photograph.
All right.
Didn't he stop, Ron? Did he say, did you see that or did you seize them?
Well, let's see.
Because I thought he said, did you seize them? And I think the witness thought he said, did you see them? And he said, yes.
Yeah.
Opened into a play area. You got the Dodge Journey, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you photographed the Dodge Journey,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Did you do anything else other than that or just take photographs?
Photographed it. We did alternate light on the vehicle to see if there was any like fabric or anything from the scene. We did do a couple swabs of the substance in the back, and we did blue star the vehicle.
Well, and that's why I'm asking is just based upon the testimony I heard, it seemed like it was just a bunch of pictures you were taking, but there was a lot more to it than that, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many people were out there that day on October 6th, I guess, examining the vehicle?
Myself and Corporal Shriver.
Okay, so two of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you went through the vehicle and you noted the alcohol containers, correct? Did you seize those?
Did I see those?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they were taken into evidence, correct?
No,
They weren't taken into evidence?
No.
Just photographed.
just photograph.
All right.
Yeah, he thought he said, "Did you see them?"
Mhm.
Not seize them.
Mhm.
Just curious, why not?
Didn't feel that they were pertinent to the case.
So you don't think it's pertinent to the case, you don't log it into evidence?
Well, if it's not evidence,
And who determines whether or not something's evidence?
I guess that'd be me.
So you determined it wasn't evidence, so you didn't log it, you didn't test it, you didn't swab it, you didn't keep it, correct? Let's go on to the next picture. You had a picture.
I mean, that really was cringe. That's cringe for me right there, because the jury is sitting there looking at this, and moments like that. I mean, it's so unfortunate that it happens.
You know, and he was asked, who determines if it's evidence? And he said, I guess that would be me. What, you don't know?
You have a natural light can in the back, correct?
Sir?
And that was back in the passenger seat. And did you seize that and take that into evidence?
No, sir.
And again, I guess for the same reason, you didn't consider it to be evidence.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, whenever someone drinks from a can or touches a can or does something like that, is it possible to have some sort of DNA contact or transference between it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you think that that might be relevant to testing to see who may have been or not been in the truck at that point in time?
It could be, but if they both had, or whoever had access to that vehicle, their DNA and prints would be all over the vehicle.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
you can't put a timestamp though on DNA found on a bottle. You don't know when it got there.
Right.
Okay.
You're just giving more ammo to an arrogant defense attorney with testimony like this. And I mean, I hope this guy does better next time on the next case and learns from this.
Again, you didn't think it was evidence, didn't seize it, didn't test it, didn't do anything further with it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, the substance in the back of the vehicle, which was kind of weird, okay, admittedly.
It was.
You did take that, though.
I took a sample of that.
And let me ask you this. You said it was some sort of kid cereal,
I believe, I'm not 100% sure.
but it wasn't any biological material.
No.
Okay, it wasn't any sort of cleaning solvent or anything like that, was
No,
it?
sir.
Okay, but it
How do
was
you know? You didn't test it.
what you could tell, and I don't have any reason to think, you're wrong. It was some sort of kid cereal or breakfast cereal of some sort that was in the back.
Yes, sir.
That's just
Now,
speculation.
if you're taking pictures of the inside
Yeah.
of the van, I'm going to assume you looked throughout the entire thing.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever find any feces or blood or anything like that in it?
We did find a spot that reacted on the driver's side seat, but that was it.
And what was that?
Appeared to be blood. We just blue started and it fluoresced. And it was just a little spot on the front driver's seat.
Okay, did you seize that or send it for further testing?
No, sir.
You didn't?
No, sir.
And again, just curious, why not?
Didn't believe at the time it was pertinent.
Again, what you talk about all the time, you cannot assume at the time that it's just a missing child. You have to assume that there's some type of foul play. And if he had in fact treated it as that, he would have taken that and his mindset. So yeah, I mean, look, it causes lots of people to make comments like, oh, this is a lazy detective. This is an inexperienced detective. It's just not what you want to see in such an important case like this.
You get a positive hit on that stain with luminol and you don't take it, that's when you take it. You got a positive hit. Okay. Could it be something else? Absolutely. But that's not your job. The lab will determine what it is and isn't. You send it to the lab.
This boils my blood. But again, this isn't going to make or break the case. It's just going to give the defense a little more ammo.
Now, with regards to the rest of the vehicle, did you find anything else of any substance in there? Of any relevance?
There was a spot in the back that we took swabs of and logged in. And there was a couple of fibers from the back seat or the back of the vehicle that we collected and logged in.
Okay. And what did you do with them once you swabbed them and collected them and logged them in?
That was all I did with them.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, if you look at number 15 from State's Exhibit 11, what was this orange thing and this white thing in the back of the phone?
Those are traffic vests, kind of like safety vests. And then the white paper was from the dentist, I believe it was.
Okay.
Paperwork.
And what's the little orange thing on the ground right there?
I believe that was another safety vest.
You know, Ron, so he just said he took hairs, suspect hairs, he took certain things, and he just logged them in. And it doesn't say that he submitted them to the laboratory. So they could be sitting in some property clerk location and never have been tested by the lab or never have been seen by the lab. Okay. How do you leave that unopened question? If you're a prosecutor, how do you leave that knowing that that stuff has not been tested and we don't know what in fact it is, or if it has any connection to the case? How do you as a prosecutor not say, after finding out all that he had done, go get that stuff and send it to the lab?
Right.
I mean, maybe it was sent to the lab and we just haven't gotten to that point. But the way he made it sound is I sent it to the property clerk and that's it. That's all I did with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Unbelievable.
Right. And that was the extent of everything that you found or found relevant from the car, correct?
All right. I'm going to stop it here with this comment from Ed Black. Okay. We are going over trial day 2. We're not going over day 3, 4, and 5. Ed Black says, you all jumping the gun. That's why you police think you know it all. The whole vehicle was sent to Quantico. But he's being questioned on what he did with the vehicle. And what he did with the vehicle was nothing. It was nothing. He decided that none of it was of evidentiary value. So, Ed, your whole comment with all of those capital letters, you're missing that we're going over day 2. Look at what it says right here. Day 2 in this trial. We're going over this testimony, not what happened going forward. We're going to get to that, but it's going to be in another life.
Let's back up and go to State's Exhibit number 10. And actually, it might be easier to look at State's Exhibit number 9. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that because it's a better overview and the other ones are just a lot of pictures to thumb through. So you took a bunch of pictures of the house and the surrounding area, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So looking at State's Exhibit 9, and again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but from what my recollection was, there was a pool in the back and there was a set of dining room doors and a set of living room doors that led out to the pool area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it looked like, and again, not trying to put words in your mouth, just going from my recollection, that the living room doors opened into a play area.
Yes, sir.
And the dining room doors opened directly onto the patio area. Is that a fair and accurate assessment of what the pictures you took?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you got there, well, I guess it was on October 5th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you got there on October 5th, you were sent around to take all the pictures that you took in State's Exhibit 10, correct?
Yes.
All right. And Mr. Dean asked you to discuss and go through what it took to go from the front door to, I guess, the living room door, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But based upon that, it's a much shorter trip to go from the front door to the dining room door, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's not nearly as circuitous, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I can't tell from the picture, so I'm going to have to ask you. The dining room door opens right out onto the patio, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The living room door opens into a play area, correct?
It's the same patio. It's just got a little gate.
Right. And it seems to me, again, not putting words in your mouth, but the play area seemed kind of cordoned off.
Yeah.
And the dining room doors didn't. It kind of opened straight into the pool area.
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. So it's much easier to get out through the dining room door onto the patio than the living room door, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you were there that day, were those doors open, closed? What were they?
All the doors were closed when I got there.
Okay. Were they unlocked?
I believe so, yes.
So you didn't have any
Did you take pictures of that spot before?
Yeah, he's
Once
talking
you
about the
turned off
spot.
the lights, what do you do?
Then we spray the vehicle. We would spray each seat, the floorboard, and then allow. Yes.
Did you take any pictures of it and record it? So, and so this was pretty much the extent of what you did in the case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you review you said you went and seized the camera footage from Azalea, if I'm not mistaken. So that was you that went out and picked it up, seized it, and then I guess you forwarded it to the detectives, correct?
Yes. Well, we put it on a computer at work.
Billy
Ron-
Ryan, have a good night. Good to see you. Ed, that highlighted comment, why was that up there?
Yeah, I didn't understand it. So if you would like to explain how I got charbroiled, as you say,
Yeah.
let me just put it to you this way. If the FBI has the car now, and now they find stuff, how does it hurt? Doesn't that hurt the case? And the because the initial two detectives that went through the car didn't find it?
Amen, brother.
Okay. I mean, I don't understand your comment. So, you only have one shot at getting this right. Okay. They're coming in after a crime scene team has already been through it. And if they find something that should have been found on the first go round, that's going to destroy this case.
Right. Yeah. Look, there's been a lot of testimony from qualified. Look, we heard today from an FBI agent. We heard from Cellbrite, folks down in, I believe, in Savannah and another part of Georgia. They sent out the phones. They did Cellbrite. They did a whole bunch of different things. But there's a lot going on in this case. A lot of resources. A lot of stuff that is going to show that the defense is going to look at these small little snafus and they're going to say, look, when we had the boys in California City, Ed, remember that trial? We were looking at it and we were shaking our heads. We were like, oh my God. The testimony was horrible from the police, California City. And then thank God Bakersfield came in and gave their testimony. When that trial was in full swing, I thought for sure with the police testimony, the thing was going to be blown. They got convictions on both Trezell and Jacqueline West. It doesn't mean when you have somebody like this, yeah, it's embarrassing to see it and hear it, but the bottom line is that this is not going to make or break the case, and that's what I said. All right, here it was. It wasn't about you, Ed Wallace. It was the Ed back that DutyRon was talking about. It was the Ed Black that DutyRon. I don't know.
Thanks for the clarification. No, yeah, it was the other comment that you were talking about. That we jumped the gun. The guy that was all caps, Ed, that was in all caps, saying that the FBI has the vehicle. There
you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much in this case. Ed, hashtag DutyRon. I don't know why we were like that. Usually it's this way. Hashtag Ed, hashtag DutyRon. Questions as it pertains to the forensics in the case, in the trial. And then we're going to get ready to wrap it up because we're an hour and 13 into it. So hashtag Ed, hashtag DutyRon. Ed, I'll let you scan the chat as I pull up the next video.
All right.
You see anything good?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Doesn't see anything good. All right. I'm going to put this on the screen. This is Julie Grant opening statement. This is from yesterday. And oh my God, no, it's from 3 days ago. Julie Grant from Court TV says Leilani Simon should be thrown in jail just like she allegedly threw her baby away. Let's take a listen to this. You don't often get to hear Julie Grant get feisty. She's always very reserved, but I kind of like this one. So this is from 3 days ago, and it's in this format. There's nothing I could do about it. So she filmed it in TikTok mode, but let's listen to her.
Boo-hoo. Lying Leilani was crying Leilani as her trial was about to get underway. The trial to get justice for her baby, Quinton Simon. So who were those tears for? From what the prosecutor said, sounds like lying, crying, coked out Leilani loved Quinton less than her other two kids. Prosecutor made it seem like that precious angel baby Quinton never stood a chance. The prosecutor showed the jury more of crying Leilani's tears in the form of a video message where she appears to be saying her goodbyes to the people that she loves, namely her boyfriend and her two other kids. She barely mentions little Quinton. But lying Leilani never carried out any attempt at self-harm. Instead, police say she took out her anger, her frustration, and her self-hatred on defenseless baby Quinton. My friends, if that's true, she should be locked up and they need to throw away the key, just like she allegedly threw away her baby. Now, baby Quinton gets his turn at justice. Quinton Simon deserved to be loved. He deserved to be safe. And his lying, crying, poor excuse for a mother needs to be held accountable if she was the one who ended his short life.
Amen to that. I love to hear her all fired up. That was really good. Julie Grant from Court TV getting feisty with Leilani, and she had some really good points there. She is locked up. We know that. She's been in jail for quite a bit. But there's so many questions in the chat. Here's one from Miss Alma. She says, DutyRon, will the grandmother be charged? Now, she's making reference to Billy Joe. Billy Joe Howell had custody of Quinton Simon. Leilani did not have custody. He was out of town or out of the area this day leading up to this crime, this heinous crime. I think in my mind, he should have been charged with something. Hold on. Not a hell no. It's a oh hell yeah. I got to get a oh hell yeah button. I think she should be charged with something, Ed.
Absolutely.
She was out of town. Her husband's a trucker or whatever the hell they were doing. Left this drunk druggie alone with the kids. Not just her, one kid. There was multiple kids there. And she was more concerned about getting high. And she said she had her teeth pulled. Yeah, I know that. You know, she's popping pills and drinking and doing all this craziness. Whatever the case may be. Yeah. I think the grandmother should be hogtied and dragged in. She was giving out interviews and talking to the people and talking to everybody and carrying on. There was people on YouTube buying them food. They were sending fucking food. Oh man, don't even get me started. They were sending Leilani and the grandmother food as they sat on the front lawn smoking cigarettes and doing whatever they were doing, and they were getting Uber Eats orders. Ed?
Yeah, well, she was given custody of the child, so the health and welfare of that child was her responsibility, okay? And she knew that, you know, her daughter was unfit and should not be with these children, okay? I think she possibly could be charged, and I don't know why she hasn't been, okay? Because obviously, I mean, look at the results.
Yeah. I had so much more that I wanted to go over, but look, we're almost into an hour and a half on this thing. There's so much. This week was jam-packed with civilian witnesses. There was even a woman in there who was talking about tarot cards readings or some type of that she can hear Quinton talking to her. Did you see that testimony? Those of you in the chat, did you guys see that? It was a friend. She said that she connects with the dead, and the lawyer asked her, "Hey, could you connect?" And she said, "Could you get me a Bible and something else?" I don't remember what else she asked for. It was some weird moments in this trial in week one. How many people in the chat saw that? I did have it saved, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to it. Daniel Youngkin testified. His testimony seemed credible. He seemed, definitely credible, and he gave good, valuable testimony. So many people came up and gave testimony, including the babysitter who was probably the only good thing in poor little Quinton Simon's short life, 20 months. The babysitter gave testimony, and she talked about how she felt Leilani was an unfit mother. And then the defense came on and tried to, discredit her and say, you didn't call, you didn't report that she was an unfit mother. So what did you do? He was trying to put it all on her. Craziness, to say the least, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for being here, for leaving the super chats. I'm going to go over them real quick. Wishful filled state sends $5 and says, defense making big deal how babysitter didn't report her. Yeah, and it just so happens I'm just saying that. Hope that won't fly. I doubt it's going to fly because, again, she was the only good thing in that kid's life, and she took care of him and she loved him. And we saw a video of, I don't know how or who took the video, but somebody on YouTube took a video of the grandmother going in there and yelling at her. And maybe she was scared of these people. Maybe she was scared of retributions if she reported. I don't know. But she claimed that the authorities came to her and she gave them her 411 on it. Love your show and passion for victims. This one's another real piece of shit. God bless. Amen, sister. Amen. Michael Joseph Murray, member for 12 months. Thank you. Hatfield and McCoy sending a $50 super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you, Shirley. Oh, my Atlanta. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you, Fred. Carrie from Florida says, hi, Ron and Ed. Can her charges increase in sentencing? No, they cannot. She's charged with 19 counts. There, 3 of them are murder. The charges cannot be elevated. AM hearing, state said she needs to shut her mouth. I'm hearing that the state says she needs to shut her mouth. Yeah, she should. You know, and it shouldn't be the state telling her to shut her mouth. It should be her defense team telling her to shut her mouth. Jade, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the support. Hey, if you guys can't support us, you can do it for free. Hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, share out the video, let the ads play. If you watch the replay viewers, you guys are so tremendously valuable. These type of cases for some reason don't get a lot of attention, and there's so many of them out there, but this one is near and dear to us. This involves a 20-month-old child, and it's so sad. Ed, did you see anything in the chat, or do you have any thing you want to add to that?
No, I mean, like I said, so far, some of the testimony from the forensic experts, the sergeant, the PowerPoint presentation they did today was very powerful, showing the security footage and the route, the vehicle, capturing the vehicle's movement in the wee hours of the morning. The doors opening and closing, and correlating the times, everything circumstantially shows her dumping that body in that dumpster. Now, how the baby was killed and whether she did it, we haven't gotten to that point, in my opinion, yet.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot more to cover, a lot more to present, and I think that they, getting to also, they were talking about the search in the landfill. And I have the forensic anthropologist, the testimony, the showing of the bones. It's just, to me, just so heartbreaking to see that, because this is what we're looking at. It's the bones of this poor little child. And when we heard her testimony and the conversation about the pieces being put, or identified what pieces and how she knew what they were, it was just heartbreaking. And then you see the cameras pan to Leilani, and she's got no emotion, nothing, just a blank stare. And it's just is shocking to me. I feel like we've neglected the chat a little bit, and I don't know, have you scanned it for the questions? Because I want to just take some questions quickly, if anybody's got any. I'm scrolling back really quick. Let's let a little bit of this play, because it shows various pictures of Quinton in a stroller. And
you mean when the anthropologist was up there and you saw the cranium, the skull, the eye sockets of the skull, you saw the foot, the lone foot, and no emotion from the mother, no emotion whatsoever. Nothing. I mean, it's like,
breaks my heart. Yeah, it just shows how cold and callous she is. No emotion. She's just concerned about, and it was the other kids, her other children, that she was favoring over this precious boy. And she referred to him as a kid. When she gave some testimony, when she gave an interview, and I have that queued up and I just didn't get a chance to play it, she referred to him as the kid, this kid.
Yeah. Well, you heard from the babysitter that she had preference to the other children opposed to Quinton. Lori, she'd be a fool. She'd be a fool to get on the stand and try to testify, given all of her interviews that aired so far.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much ammunition against her.
Yeah, we believe that she will not testify. It's not in her best interest. She's not a stable person to begin with, and her testimony would be very hurtful towards her. ATS News says she's stone cold. Yeah, and Amber, you're going to be having your scheduled C-section on Tuesday. So good luck to you, and congratulations on the birth of your second child coming up. I'm just, sending you strength and prayers and all kinds of good juju for a successful delivery via C-section. I know that you'll be home probably in a day or two. I don't think they hold you much longer than a day or so now. So you'll be back home, and we're sending you all of our love and support. Amber, ATS News, great YouTube channel. Everybody should go over there and check it out. Questions? Hold on. Here was one from Maui Morsey 66. Question: do all of her children have different fathers? I believe there are two. I put three fingers up, two different fathers, and I'm not quite sure. I don't think the Bobby Joe has custody. Billy Joe has custody of any of them. So I believe they're in foster care or they're in safety. They're away from these crazy people.
Several of the people in the chat are saying 3.
Okay, so then I was right when I put up my 3 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of the inner workings of this, I'm not following. What I am following is justice for this boy right here, and this is what it's all about. And I can't stand that Court TV does toddler in landfill murder trial. I think that, guys, call me whatever you want to call me, but I think that's gross. I'm not dogging Court TV because I like the coverage that they do, but I can't stand that. Man, I wish I could just black that out. Is it just me, Ed, or does that annoy you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really
Toddler in landfill murder trial. Come on, I don't know.
Why can't they say Quinton? Are they trying to describe the photo? Or,
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think it's insensitive. I mean, look at this little kid.
Well, it's just more proof that there are certain individuals in this world that should not be allowed to have children.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I think a lot of people are agreeing. It's annoying. I don't like it. Whatever. You could call me whatever you want, but I just that kind of thing. When I see it, I just say, why? Who in there? Who is thinking from Court TV when they write that out that sounds good, or that I don't know if it's clickbaity or maybe more people want to watch it. I don't know. It's gross. All right. On behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, we want to wish you guys a good weekend. I got a lot going on next week. I've got some information that I'm going to share with you in the next week to 10 days. I can't share it with you right now, but I got some updates as far as my health condition and things that are going on with me. Can't really get into it, you guys, here tonight, but in the next week or so, or 10 days, I'll be able to give you guys a full look into what's going on with me. But I'm just asking for prayers from everybody for, just some positive vibes and prayers. I don't ask for things like that from you guys often, but I'm just asking you guys to all pray for me. And I will keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. I know, Ed, you got a lot of things to say at the end of all of these. So what do you got, Ed?
Well, thank you all for sharing your time with us tonight on this live. I know you can get your true crime fix anywhere you like on YouTube, but thank you for joining us and being a part of our true crime family. Thanks for spreading the word. You see our numbers keep increasing. Thanks to you all. And always, as always, please stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your six.
And on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, we thank you for the replay views, the moderators. We love you tremendously, the channel members, the folks who positively engage here. But we send prayers and strength and positive vibes to all who love Quinton Simon, for justice for him, the prosecutors, all of the professionals and non-professionals that have to come in and testify. We send strength to them. We send strength to the community and the people of the area in Georgia that's affected by this. Those law enforcement and those folks who searched in that landfill for all of that time, it has to have lasting effects on them. So strength, prayers, and positive vibes from Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed. We're going to go full screen with this. This is Quinton Simon. We need justice for him. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you guys all soon. Peace and love from Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace.